Huh. Well, okay. He came and left. I guess he's got to go get a part for me. Anyway, there was one other thing. Totally different subject, I guess. I guess there's this whole idea of... what's the word I'm looking for here? Well, it's not an idea, I guess. It's more like, how do you witness to somebody? How do you really witness to somebody who's a non-believer? How do you say it? You come out and talk about Jesus, and because there's so many satires now and in movies where they make fun of him, people don't really take him seriously, I think, anymore. I think it's going to take him having to come in the clouds and show him what's up, and it's a shame that people are going to see it and realize it's the truth, but it's going to be too late. That's sad. But how do you share with somebody? I've thought about that because I want to say it's difficult to share. It's like right now it's different, right? Most people who talk on the videos, they can say whatever they want to say because, okay, so you have bad comments, you can delete them or whatever. The few that are very honest with themselves and with the people who are watching, they don't really get a lot of views. Maybe it's not hip, cool. You don't have the flashy effects, the introduction with the title and all this other stuff. When I get on and watch a video, I'm going to watch the video, get to the point, and so that's why I like with me. It's like, you probably think the same thing. Well, I'll get to the point. Well, I guess the point for me is that I don't know how to really witness to somebody other than to point out my faults and point out the things that I did bad and wrong and how I got through those and how they prevented me from doing those things in the future. I got nothing else. I have no special spiritual knowledge. I have no intellectual insight into something, some special Christian teaching. I don't have any of that. The only thing I have to show as evidence that Christ is alive and He works miracles is the fact that I'm standing here right now giving you this message. That's a miracle in itself. I should have been dead a long time ago from diseases, accidents, some very serious accidents. One I can remember very specifically. I was in the military. I was working on a helicopter on the blade fold system, 146. Now these things, when you're up on the tail rotor, you're looking at least 20, 25 feet up off the ground. And off the ground, it's not dirt. You're talking about a flight line, flight deck. So it doesn't give when you hit it. And the helicopters used four-phase 440? Four-phase 4... I think it's 440. Wow, I'm starting to lose my memory on that now, too. I remember very specifically because especially working in industrial environments, you have three-phase 480, right? It's usually what it's 480. Some will run 440 if they're running a 110. If they're running off a 110 and they're amping up, it's a little different. But anyway, the whole thing is that you're running four-phase 440 through these blade fold motors, and I was called out because one of the blade fold motors wasn't folding the blades of the helicopter, right? So you could park it next to other helicopters. So okay, so I get up there and look, and I hit the switch, and I got a hand. There's a little box that we made with a wire pigtail that goes down to the helicopter power unit, and one goes into the motor that'll actually energize the motor to cause the blade to turn. Hit the switch, motor doesn't run. Well, that's weird with the jump box right there. Hit the switch, that's what it's for. It'll manually move the motor over. Well, the motor wasn't running. Guess what the first thing I thought? Well, motor's bad. Okay. Back before, I was smart. Well, is it actually trying to move? And I reached down and I touched the top of the motor. Now, they use safety wire on the bolts to keep the bolts from coming out, especially when it's spinning like that. You don't want those things flying out. Not to mention the blade will fall apart. But when I touched that, the safety wire created a ground from my switch on this hand to the blade on this hand, and I don't know how much. All I remember was hitting that, and I woke up on the ground. I should have been dead. Across the heart, that much current. It's not healthy. Or the car accident. Broadside at 75 miles an hour, sitting in the back seat without a seatbelt. Which, by the way, the car didn't have a seatbelt back there. Some serious ski accidents. I should be dead right now. And that's all I can tell somebody of what got me through that, or how I go through something in the future. Like seeing something coming up that could change your life forever, whether it be cancer or terminal illness is a good example of that one. Prison time, heck, going on a Mars journey, right? It's going to take 6 months to get there, 6 to get back, plus the year for explorations. It's going to take 2 years. I guess the whole thing is that how do you explain to somebody what helped you if they had something else that helped them? If you don't see that it was God helping you, that's where the whole key to understanding what the Scripture is about. It's understanding who God is, what He did for you, and that He's there to help. He wants people to rely on Him. It's like when my son was younger, I'd have him out in the garage working on a car with me. Hey, I'd just stick him in there with a wrench. Say, hey, go to town. Like I said before, you can't mess it up any more than I can fix it. So we can learn. You can learn by trying. But you know how good it feels when he comes to me and says, hey, Dad, how do I get this bolt off? Or how do I get this thing out? Or, he's coming to me for help as information. And as a father, it makes me feel good. It's like, awesome. It's not that I need him to come and say that. I need that affection. No, when it happens, I want it. And if I force it on him, it'd be a totally different experience from my point of view. I wouldn't feel the same way. And so for me, when I talk about what helped me or how can I help someone else to deal with situations, I can just be like, look, this is what helped me, and then explain, the Scriptures. There's no real hidden meaning there. It's all open, available for anyone to see and read. And it just feels different. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a believer and I can't have the view of a non-believer and read it. But for some reason, even just the way that the words are spoken, it's almost divine in nature. You look at some of the other holy books and there's stuff in there. It's like, whoa, why would God say that? And then you kind of realize, well, okay, it was one person that wrote this book. Whether it be the Quran, one guy wrote it. But then you look at the Bible, and you're talking about, 66 books, I think it is, across thousands of years. And everybody's saying the same thing. And I love it when you get into prophecy, and prophecy that was told way back when, and then fulfilled, with Jesus coming. We say, well, they could have just written a letter. Well, no. We're 2,000 years after the fact. And it'd be just like if somebody 1,000 years from now in the future. Now, okay, well, I can't use that example because you got videotapes and camcorders and all this evidence and fact and stuff. But, just it sounds more realistic. I'm just going to leave it at that. Some say, well, it doesn't sound realistic. Well, it does sound realistic, but you don't want it to be realistic because you're probably convicted of something in your life right now. And you think, I'm not worthy or what, I have to just serve and be subservient to this being. Well, name one religion where you're not subservient to something else. Okay, well, maybe Hinduism or Buddhism or one of those where there's no actual creator. Maybe there is. I don't know. I don't do a lot of research. But every religion you're going to be assigned to a creator, I guess you would say. I suppose in New Age maybe, because then you are your own creator, which goes against total logic with me, is how you can be your own creator when you were created on the earth that you supposedly created. That's an interesting thought to think about. Say, well, your spiritual being existed before. Well, then where was I? Why is there no memory of that? too many questions. You see, there's too many questions there. You get into the scriptures. Hey, this is how it is. Wow, look at the way the world is with good and evil. Wow, that fits pretty perfectly. How are we going to solve it? Well, here's the way it's going to be solved. I remember this analogy in one of the other talks I talked about was. See, I just lost it. I need some vitamins or something that'll help me with my memory and train of thought, because it just goes all over the place sometimes. Anyway, it just, I guess in essence, I want to share, I want to help people that help people get information that helped me when I dealt with problems, because I care about them, and instead of it being, you're just impressing your views on somebody else and you get totally standoffish, realize that I'm not pressing views on anybody. If anything, the thing I'm pressing is that I'm a genuine human being who just wants to help. I'm not in it for the money, not in it for the recognition. I just want to help. And so when somebody sees this, that won't help, it's kind of ridiculous when you don't even know everything that the help can give you, or where the help even came from. You say, well, that won't work. Well, it's, kind of like if you never worked in a bakery, which I did as a mechanic. But, it's like handing somebody a whole bunch of ingredients saying, okay, can this make bread? No, that won't work. Or, you don't know anything about it to be able to make that assumption. Science will tell you if it works for somebody, it can work for somebody else. That's just the way it is. If it works for one person, it can work for somebody else. Now, granted, maybe it's not all tailor-made, right? The 7 billion people on the planet, they're all different. Do you want to have something tailor-made specifically for you? Christianity is the way to go. It is. It's the truth. You got to look at this world. I'm old now. Granted, I'm almost 40, but when you look back, just when I was a kid growing up, and you think, man, this stuff in Revelation can never happen. And look at the world today. It's very possible it can happen. People are so blinded. They think, well, it couldn't happen because of the laws or because of this. Do you know how much Hitler, Stalin, any of these other big czarist regime-type governments, even ours now getting there, would have killed for the ability to spy on every citizen and to be able to control everything like how it's possible to do now? And we think, well, it'll never happen. Well, that's what they said back in Germany. That's what they said in all these other countries where it happened. Oh, it'll never happen here. We're too sophisticated. We're too advanced.